So today we are going to be speaking of India, India's football,
Yeah,
the issues related to football in India, the sport, its administration, the culture of playing football in India, and most importantly, its football history.
yeah,
So very recently we watched the film Maidan. Do you want to talk about it, Jay?
yeah. Medan is a great movie. I would recommend that all of you go watch it. And if it's out of the cinemas, because last time I checked, it wasn't performing that well commercially, but it's gotten some good reviews. So if it's out of the cinemas, you can watch it once it's on the OTT platforms. It's a great film. It covers the life of the legendary S.A.A. Rahim, S.A. Rahim, who is basically considered as the godfather of Indian football, and with his death, ended the golden age of Indian football.
Right. So we are going to take a deep dive into a lot of issues that affect the performance of the sport in the country.
Yeah.
Primarily, we are going to be speaking of sports administration. In this context, the All India Football Federation, the AIFF, the sports funding in India, and let's begin, Jay. Have we done a research into what we think is the areas where Indian football is lacking? Because in the movie, we were shown a time when India was considered the Brazil of Asia. It had won a gold in the Asian Games. From that time, we come to a time where India cannot even beat Afghanistan at
Mm.
home in
Yeah.
Guwahati,
Yeah.
and we have had a record of playing poorly against many international opponents.
Yeah.
So, what are your thoughts, Jay? Let's
So,
get your thoughts.
to give you guys some perspective, both of us grew up watching football quite heavily because we were sick and tired of watching cricket. So, football became like a good alternative. And around that time, the English Premier League was basically put forward as one of the best leagues to be followed. And again, as an international brand, it was being promoted a lot. So, automatically, the two impressionable kids that we gravitated towards that, and we were always told while growing up that Indian football is like, not worth it, and the only decent teams that are there are in West Bengal, namely Mohan Bagan and East Bengal. So taking that into consideration, the reason why our football is so lagging behind is because we do not have a grassroots approach. Our leagues are not annual in nature. In fact, their formats essentially depend on the round robin format, which is associated with the international tournaments, and due to which our players do not get a year long practice. Say in leagues like Premier League or other competitions. So I could say that because of not having an organized league structure and multiple competitions, both state level and national level, there isn't an organized structure for the grassroots development to take place, which means that a lot of talent is not harvested, and we are always left in this ambiguous position as to what exactly we expect out of our football.
So there are, in my view, there are several infrastructural issues also. I think that there is a lack of financial infrastructure with the AIFF. We were reading a newspaper report that has shown a significant but lasting decline in the grants that are handed to the All India Football Federation for picking up talent for organizing competitions, and that is just point number one. uh, I don't want to, without deep information, go into criticizing the All India Football Federation, but by and large its governance has been criticized by many former football players themselves. Many people have called it the pet project of many politicians. It's become another source of generating some financial power and maintaining some amount of social relevance.
Mhm.
And there was an incident in 2022 when the All India Football Federation was suspended by FIFA for not conducting its elections on time. So clearly we are
There
not.
was, sorry to interject, but there's another reason why the suspension was handed out is because the Supreme Court basically said that there needs to be a change in the chairmanship of AIFF, which was being headed by Praful Patel around that time. And because Supreme Court got involved, it went against the FIFA's rule that the third party governmental institutions cannot interfere in a football governing body's administration, due to which AIFF was given a suspension.
Well, I think even at the time I remember articles on this. I will defend the Supreme Court here
Yeah,
because otherwise elections were not being held.
absolutely.
So court appointed people were sent to look at the oversight of the committee of
A
administrators.
lot of people allege that Praful Patel, through his contacts in FIFA, put this international pressure
Hmm.
on the AIFF that if you try to get rid of him, this is what he can, do to the
Right,
organization. It is
right.
alleged. There is no confirmation to that.
And to think of it, it is the judiciary of a sovereign nation. So it's not a third party interference
Yeah,
as much as it is
exactly.
a emphasis on regulatory oversight and a statement that we have working institutions here,
Yeah.
and AIFF must maintain internal democracy
Hmm.
and take its annual general governing bodies meetings and appointments very seriously,
Yeah.
which has not happened. I am not in a position to say internally, but by and large in the media this has been the coverage. Even many former football players who have been appointed in AIFF related posts have alleged the same,
Yeah.
that many politicians don't take it that seriously. Their elections aren't held in time, and they sort of, there is no change in leadership ever.
Mhm.
There is no new dynamism coming in,
Yeah.
we saw with the example of Maidan that the initiative and the strength shown by just one person in sports administration can go so long to improve performance of
Yeah.
sports on the ground.
Absolutely.
So do you have anything to add to this?
No, this is not just true about football. I think this is true about other non-cricketing sports as well. Like even in athletics, we've had these issues propping up, and until unless there isn't a single individual brilliant performance, such sports are mostly overlooked. In
Mm-hmm.
fact, the present establishment is trying really hard that the focus from cricket shifts and other sports are also developed. Like we saw that with the the winning of Neeraj Chopra in the Olympics, specifically in javelin throw, and now the interest towards that is also increasing.
Yeah, that's fair. Although I do think that it also has a lot to do with the culture of sports in general. I think you cannot totally divorce the poor performance of India in football from the poor performance of India in the Olympics.
Yeah.
Because I think that deep down, there is no culture of enhancing the sports performance at a ground level. The average parent is much more comfortable with their child pursuing academics full time.
Yeah.
Sports is by and large looked at as a distraction, or at the very least people will only look at sports as a means to get a government job
Government job.
in many rural parts of the country.
Yeah.
And I think that is unfortunate because this makes the sport in itself a secondary issue,
Mm.
and the social relevance attached to it the primary driving factor. When the culture is not developed, things that happen are that you don't get the right infrastructure. Your infrastructure is directly tied to your performance. Your performance is tied to future generation of funds for your body, and this kind of turns into a vicious cycle.
Yeah.
I think most of the football games in India happen in large multi-purpose athletic stadiums. I don't even think there is a large culture of having big football stadiums for every city. You know,
Yeah.
my raw wisdom is that, and people can be welcome to argue this, that if you have 9-10 acres of land in every complex for the DDA to develop a new golf course, for every some central armed police force to develop a new golf course, why can't we give even half amount of land to develop a proper designated football
Football
stadium?
stadium.
So these are some issues which are, they are not directly ever pointed out, but these are major drivers of a poor culture.
Yeah.
So I think those are by and large some of my opinions when we talk about poor footballing culture in India.
Nahi, as recent as the new chairman uh, being accused of corruption and the legal representative of AIFF quitting and other important administrators quitting just shows that there is still massive mismanagement that is happening at the top, given the fact that former legal representatives are accusing the chairman, Mr. Chaube, of corruption and using the funds and misallocating the funds for personal gains, for personal travel expenses. Just goes to show that the rudimentary problems are still not being tackled
Yeah.
at the top level.
Yeah, I think when you head an institution like that, you automatically have some contract giving power.
Hmm.
When you have these contract giving powers, your fund, your ability to direct those funds is definitely biased somewhere. People
Hmm.
will do a little bit of favoritism, nepotism, and that culture, when it comes to a body directed to maintain a quality of sports administration in India, it becomes very unfortunate.
Yes.
So I think, having said that, these are not the only issues that have plagued Indian football. There is the issue of a league structure which allows very few teams. There aren't enough Indian club football teams also that can absorb young players and
Yeah.
develop them later on. So, do you have something to say
Yeah,
about that?
like I mentioned, because the format of the tournaments is such that they are designed like IPL. If you look at the Indian Super League, it was given so much of relevance when it was launched, and it was said to, like, totally revolutionize Indian football. But what has happened is that not only it has lost the number of attendance, it has also lost the interest of general public. And again, for that is that there is not enough attraction power that these clubs are able to generate, even though they are better paid, better funded as compared to other leagues. It is just not sustainable enough to run in the long run. And another very critical issue with the Indian football system right now is that the youth leagues are also very very malnourished, for the lack of a better word, because the one league that everyone one trophy that everyone depends on specifically for the youth system is the Subrato Cup, where it is a national level inter-school tournament, and that's it. And after that, finally, recently, the IFF has launched a youth league which will have 50 teams from across the country, but its execution will tell us as to how
I think
the preparations are.
this is all in keeping with the recent
Yeah,
policy document of the AIFF, which has a Vision 2047.
yeah.
It says some good things, and I've said this many times. I am not a policy pessimist. I hope that a lot of these things work out. They are very good. They are going to be difficult because it is an ambitious document, and there
Hmm.
is nothing wrong in being ambitious, but we need to check our realities also.
Absolutely.
I think that another criticism for the Subrato Cup and other cups which are organized for under 18 players is that the travel arrangements are not very good, the
They're
stay
ridiculous.
arrangements are not very good. And I'm not saying that you should give these athletes very luxury treatment. But they should at least have their basic necessities met.
Yeah, I was reading somewhere that a youth team from West Bengal went to Bangalore, and there the arrangements were so bare minimum that these 13, 14-year-olds were forced to cook their own breakfast. They weren't given proper sleeping arrangements,
There
and
were no sleeping
there
mattresses
were
and
no
all.
sleeping mattresses, and they were just like given a room and, like, told to fend for themselves. So that if that's how we treat a 13, 14-year-old player, then that just goes to show how the system would eventually manifest itself in other areas.
Yeah, at the very least, it's going to disincentivize people playing the sport. It's going to give them the signal that your talent and that your ability to play the sport is not valued,
Yeah.
and it's not a worthy endeavor. So leave the sport, or go back to studying for JEE or something.
Go back to
Uh,
studying JE or become a lawyer. So
yeah.
many good players from my college in Delhi University. I was in Sri Venkateshwara College, and it had a very good football team. So many talented players just stopped playing football because they told me clearly that this does not have a future for them,
Yeah.
and they would rather be a lawyer than pursue football like as a profession.
Yeah. I think I would just like to add one more thing, that overall the Indian Football League setup, investment into its infrastructure, and an improvement in the league system, that is
Yeah.
creating a three-tier league with division 1,
Division
division
2
2,
and Division
division
3, yeah.
B, will go a long way into absorbing a lot of grassroots talent from Indian
Yeah.
football. Why so is that the setting up of ISL on IPL format was a problem in itself,
Yeah.
because these formats only give representation to the large metro cities and big state capitals,
Yeah.
so that only leaves you with 8 to 10
Yeah.
cities. However, if we want to have European level kind of success in football, we must see that there is every city, every village, many former military regiments, many former
Unions,
clubs,
trade
trade
unions.
unions, they
Yeah.
have their football clubs.
Yeah.
So we need to develop our football clubs along those lines. If you have a three-tier division league system which lasts 10,
Mhm.
11 months, in that you have a
Exactly.
team from Jabalpur, from Jammu, from Patna, from Raipur. Now these kind of setups would definitely, at the very least, set up a culture of playing football in India. And you combine that with better stadiums and better monetary incentives for the players, then there will be a culture of young boys and girls being absorbed into the
Yeah.
sport much earlier. I was watching this video by this gentleman Mohak Mangal on this issue,
Yeah.
where he stated that in the Santosh Trophy, teams actually ask their fans for donations
I think it was
for
the team from
playing.
Assam, if I'm
Yeah,
not wrong. Yeah.
and so that's so unfortunate, because how do you expect a team to focus on its core playing strategies when the team's administration is busy looking for money on Twitter?
Yeah.
And what incentive will the players have in that case? So I think the solution lies in investment, in sustained investment, and coupling that with a culture of a better, more absorptive, more consumptive league system.
Yeah.
So
Facts.
I think that's where the solution to save Indian football lies, because the logical next outcome of this will be that you have so many good players from these decentralized areas, that a good national team's development will not be very difficult.
Yeah, and in the movie Medan, you saw that S.A. Rahim was actually cultivating talent from the grassroots. That's why
Yeah.
his team system became so so well established,
Hmm.
because he was basically going against the norm.
Hmm.
Around that time, the Indian team used to play long balls, a system which was created by the English,
Hmm.
whereas he went for the Hungarian format, because the Hungary team was very good around that time. Short passes, keeping the ball low, and then finally going for your attack. So he was basically getting rid of the outdated systems, developing the grassroots football, and also ensuring that the camps that were dominating the football federation around that time are not followed to the core, and new ideas are implemented with respect to football, and that's why he got so much success.
Yeah. And it's not like India never had a culture of playing football. We know about your example from Patna. There is the legendary rivalry between Mohan Bagan and East Bengal FC.
Mm.
There was a cricket, sorry, my
Mhm.
apologies. There was a football playing culture in Calcutta much before sports like cricket became very famous in the country.
Mhm.
And you had these different union bodies, clubs, military regiments actively playing competitive football. It was largely British dominated at the time, but that's besides the point, because the culture was in Calcutta.
Yeah.
We retain Calcutta, we retain a similar spirit. We we should develop that, we should incorporate it, and we should kind
Also,
of spread it.
also important to develop sporting institutions like that is that if you take the example of clubs like Mohan Bagan and East Bengal, they all come from a very important cultural slash historical background, because Mohan Bagan was a team started by people from Calcutta, whereas East Bengal was a team which was dominated by people who
People
came
who
in
are
from
fleeing
East Pakistan.
present day
Yeah,
Bangladesh
persecution of Hindus from that side. So they started their own club. Then Mohammedan Sporting, a club which was meant for Muslims in
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 Bengal.
Bengal. So these clubs had a massive historical background, and this is true for a lot of English clubs as well.
Mhm.
Like Chelsea representing the upper class societies of London, Arsenal coming from the working class neighborhoods.
Mhm.
So this type of system was to be exploited but never was in India's
That's
context.
why I was an Arsenal fan.
And I was a Chelsea fan.
But I think the political
Yeah.
socio-economic line permeates into
Yeah.
sport. Even in Spain, the
Hmm.
Madrid and Barcelona rivalry is so legendary because
Yeah.
of the Catalonia issue.
Another
And
very important aspect of the Catalonian issue that is not Catalonian issue, my bad, that is not discussed enough is the rivalry between Espanyol and Barcelona. Espanyol is also a club from Barcelona, but
right,
Espanyol is the Spanish integration club of Barcelona,
right,
whereas
they are the
Barcelona is the pro-Catalan independence club.
right for
Yeah,
for the lack of a better word, it's unionists versus secessionists
secessionists,
of some
exactly.
sorts.
So these types of rivalries were exploited upon, and that's how football was established. And in fact, football was used as a way of reducing uh, inter-religious ethnic violence in Europe.
Hmm.
Instead of killing each other in the streets, people decided that, hey, why don't we get invested in our football teams and let them
Hmm.
decide the final outcome
Hmm.
on the field rather than coming at each other's throats.
Right.
So we need to establish something like that. But I think establishing something like that in India now is a mistrain, and
Hmm.
whatever remaining clubs that we have to build them from grassroots. And once they start performing well, once they give the Indians that, hey, at least they are meeting a professional standard. Right now, they are not even playing at the professional standard, in my
Hmm.
opinion, because you cannot lose to the third team of Afghanistan in a World Cup qualifying match in Guwahati. If
Yeah.
you that is not even you're not even doing the bare minimum. I'm
Hmm.
sorry, you're not even doing the bare minimum,
That's
and
unforgivable.
Igor Stimac cannot be blamed for it. It is just a problem of the administrators and the federation, and the fact that the youth system is not being exploited at all. And also, I feel a lot of senior players are having too much power. I have a lot of respect for Sunil Chetri. He's the greatest Indian footballer to ever be on the pitch, but I think it's high time that he needs to hang his boots. He's almost 42 years old now. The young people need to take over the footballing ideas, and new implementations need to
I
take
would
place.
much rather prefer a setup where Sunil Chetri is an ex officio president of
Yeah,
the AIFF. So
exactly.
you can have a part political, part player representation, administrative setup. I'm not going to take the easier line that you blame everything on the politician.
Yeah,
Sometimes having politicians on board helps with financials,
exactly.
logistics, a little bit of licensing for the board also. That those are important issues. But having players on the side for strategy, for development, for grassroots talent, you need a two-pronged approach. So I think it's time for Chetri to move to the administration of the
Yeah,
sport.
man,
You
it's just
can't have a 42-year-old man on the street in a on the pitch. Sorry, in a country which has 1 billion people, there are 11
and
players
bro,
you
we
can
get it.
find.
You're the best player in the country. You still are the best, but now's the time that you cultivate the talent. I think you should take up some coaching and administrative responsibilities.
I would go on to say as a compliment to him that
Yeah,
once he hangs up his boots, he can stop being the one good player India has and
exactly.
help us find the 11 really good players we need. You know,
But again, like to in his defense, will he be given that kind of power from the already established system?
I think that's an important question. That is why oversight is important. That is why I was in
Yeah.
defense of the Supreme Court
Hmm.
appointed,
Yeah.
overhaul of the administrative structures of AIFF,
Yeah.
because the Supreme Court cannot be faulted for having uh, some player representation. That was one of the conditions that was imposed on AIFF.
Again, to finish my first point before I went into my rant was that once we are given some decent standards of football where we're not losing to Afghanistan, we're giving a tough fight to certain mid-level teams in Asia like Qatar and Kuwait. We played well. We were playing pretty well the last 2 years. It's just that again we've gone back to our old ways. I feel once that is done, once some levels of consistency has been established, people will start showing up to the games. People will start supporting. People will start giving it the attention that is deserved. And once it gets the attention that it deserves, money will be generated and more economic opportunities will come, which will inadvertently make football a profitable business. Once it's a profitable business, then the systems can automatically improve.
That is fair.
Yeah.
I think we can conclude our conversation
Yes, we
now.
can conclude our conversation.
Thank you for tuning in.
Yeah.
Keep watching our posts and our episodes. Keep subscribing, keep sharing, keep liking.
Also, like one final point that I want to make
Okay.
was that football is disproportionately more popular in the northeastern states, and a lot of very good players come from the northeast. In fact, one of the best teams in India right now is from Manipur. Like the
Mm.
Manipur team dominates the Santosh Trophy out and out. So where is it that our system is not being able to capitalize on these young players, on this young talent, specifically from the northeast, is another question that we need to ask ourselves.
That's an important point.
And in fact,
Have
one
we
way
been
that we
able
can
to?
solve most of the militant related problems, most of the violence, and specifically in Manipur that is happening, is by ensuring that there is good sporting infrastructure where disillusioned youth who are already having a very hard problem a very hard problem getting jobs, getting employment, are depending extensively on state affirmative action benefits, right? That's why the violence in Manipur is happening right now. So if we're able to counter that with sporting opportunities, I think the problem will be solved. So I think you can literally save lives. This is my opinion, and I can always be wrong, but you can literally save lives if you were able to, establish a good sporting culture, specifically football, in the Northeast.
That's a very important point. I think that we can further our efforts to mainstream the Northeast, but how effective will they be if we don't capitalize on the talent from the people from the Northeast
Yeah.
who are uh, disproportionately much better than
Mhm.
the rest of the country at
At
football
football.
related
Yeah.
achievements?
Yes.
On that note,
Yeah.
that can be an interesting food for thought for our viewers also. We will conclude this conversation
Yeah. Thank you so
and
much. Like and
thank you.
subscribe.
Like and
Kar do
subscribe.
na, please. Subscribe karo.
Chalo, thank
Bye.
you.